while we're talking about Riot, I suppose it's more things change, the more they stay the same. Let's get this on. This is a devlog. They put out a bunch of devlogs yesterday, and they did a whole update on player behavior, and they wanted to talk about it, and I had to laugh because I was like, "Oh, what are they gonna say about this?" Because let's be real, right? For me, it's a problem that you've already solved it. I've said this a billion times. You've already solved the problem. The problem is, okay, when it comes to abuse in video games, i.e. people saying things that hurt your feelings, the mute button fixes it all. We could all say, grow the fuck up as well. I mean, like, you could also just say, listen, we're not getting involved. Like, so if y'all don't play nice with each other, yeah, it's gonna suck. But they don't say that. They don't fucking say just mute and get on with it, right? These, by the way, are solutions that we use in our everyday lives. If somebody annoys you, you don't stamp your feet and go, who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop them? Why is no one stopping them? I want to report them. You don't do that, do you? You just fucking ignore them and get on with your life. Do you know why? Because that actually fixes the problem. You're owed nothing, by the way, in your life. People have the right to annoy you. They have the right to insult you. That's life. That's it, okay? Now, if somebody crosses a boundary, you've got certain rights to react to it. But if someone is just saying things you don't like, just leave. Like, for fuck, just don't talk to them. Don't engage, right? That's it. That's how we deal with it in real life. We don't demand that systems descend from on high to fucking fix all our problems, do we? Of course we fucking don't, because they're not going to. It's on you. Yet, in the world of Riot games, they are still on this bullshit. Now, the irony, by the way, look, these might be super nice people. I left a comment on this video. I did say, great chips, like, great job. Great job. Now, how about some systems that improve Riot executives' behavior? It's still there, I think. Anyway, these might be super nice people, and I'm sure they're not part of the problem or any of the other issues I have with Riot games. But the irony of someone in the player behavior department being called Zero Impact, that's not lost on me at all. That's fucking hilarious and accurate. It's almost like they're just taunting you with it. But anyway, we can listen to this. And there were a few bits that stood out to me, and I just thought it was really fucking funny and worth talking, because it's like just Riot on their bullshit. And, you know, I warn you, there's plenty of cringe here, also plenty of stuff that'll leave you scratching your head, because guess what? They've arrived at the same conclusion. Oh, Richie plus L plus ratio plus fell off plus you're bald, whatever. They arrived at the same conclusion I did. They are now implementing broader mute features. No shit. Listen.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm the head of the behavioral systems team on League of Legends.
What better way to start off a new year than to talk about player behavior?
This topic is never easy to talk about. Unfortunately, we've seen over the last several years that there's been really negative trends in how our players are feeling about player behavior. There's definitely a lot more work to do, and I will say that again and again.
Just to speak a little bit for like the greater we, because we have your team. It's doing amazing work. We have central player dynamics working on the game agnostic systems, and there's a good partnership there. There's social and player dynamics over on Valorant. So we've got all these folks that are working together and thinking in this space. What has your team been working on? What has made maybe the biggest impact as far as we can tell so far?
Okay.
One of the big things that we released is an auto mute feature, which automatically mutes players using inappropriate language.
Right, guys, I'm out. I'm fucking out. Right, like it's took you how fucking long? How many fucking years? How many years did I have to eat shit while people were saying, right? People were saying to me, like, Rich, no, it's not as simple as muting them. No, we have to punish them, and I want to report them, and I don't just want to report them. I want a little message telling me that my report got them in trouble. I want a snitch award. Yeah. Just mute and fucking get on with your life, for fuck's sake. You aren't owed shit. You don't know anything about that person. They might be having the shittiest day of their life. And yeah, they want to tee off on you for playing bad in a video game. Fuck you. That's their right. Yeah, I said it. Give them their catharsis, you selfish cunt. Yeah, I said it. You don't know shit. You don't know shit about the 10 games they played before you, where they were a perfectly nice person pushed to the edge of, all mental credulity, which is what MOBAs do to people. They're designed to do that. So it's a team-based game, but we can only communicate in limited terms. We're all different skill levels. We're all different native speakers. We've all got to come together and execute a plan that's totally reliant on timings. Let's go. No, that's not happening. If you did that exercise in like the fucking military, people would go insane. It would be on the news every fucking week. It would just be people snapping. Like, it would be like Private Pile at the end of the first half of Full Metal Jacket. You go, you can't do this to people. It's cruel. And instead, we engage with it recreationally and pretend we're all having a good time. Well, we're having a good time until we're having a fucking bad time. And when we're having a bad time, we have the right to be frustrated and say mean things to total fucking strangers. But point being, people fucking told me for years, no, not mute. Mute's not the answer. Like you were going to be able to scold everyone on the internet into fucking submission for the benefit of your feelings. What's more realistic? Put a little temporary it's not even a gag. It's not even a gag over their mouth. It's just cotton wool in your ears. What's more realistic? It's like if you've ever lived in a block of flats. I used to live in a block of flats in Newcastle, right? I used to live in a block of fucking flats. Now, it had its perks because there was a drug dealer who used to live directly above me. A very good, credible drug dealer with really good shit. Here's the downside. I had a drug dealer living above me. It was great when I wanted drugs. It wasn't great when I wanted sleep. You know why? Because they were partying all night, because they were on drugs. Dickheads were buzzing the intercom and getting my number by mistake at strange times. Why? Because they were buying drugs. And you know what conclusion I arrived at after the fucking 10th time I knocked on the door at 4 fucking a.m. asking them to keep the noise down? It's never going to work. They're never going to keep the noise down. They're partying. They're drug dealers. Of course they're gonna party. I need to get some fucking earplugs. And I got some earplugs and my life was better and I still got to buy drugs. Do you see, League of Legends players? Do you see how easy it is? And yet for years, Richard, you're wrong. You're never going to fix anything with a mute button. This just in, Riot's new feature, mandatory muting. I could have saved you millions, Riot. Anyway, back to the video.
In-game when it happens. And so that message will not be sent and players will be notified that those players have been muted. And we saw really, really positive player feedback from that, which was super exciting. We know that verbal abuse leads to this spiral of negativity that causes even more disruption in game.
Yeah.
So we've partnered with your team who own a really robust verbal abuse detection software. And that has just leveled up our ability to make these places safer.
One thing that we knew from research was that the quicker you take, action on a behavior, like a problem behavior, the more effective it's going to be. So this is more visible, but have there been other things that maybe just kind of flew under the radar didn't get noticed because it wasn't so visible?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've seen our players talk about a lot is intentional feeding. And that is one of the most frustrating behaviors that we see in game.
Well, one of the challenges
Unrelated, no cool story about this. I didn't live in that same block of flats. There wasn't a guy underneath who was an intentional feeder. By the way, in real life, that would have a completely different meaning, wouldn't it? Because someone who's a feeder is someone who has a fetish for making their sexual partners really, really fat to the point they can't get out of bed. So, no, I don't have a cool story about this, but I will say, I always said as well, do you know what's worse than fucking someone calling you an asshole? Someone who walks it down mid and feeds 10 kills away. It's always been worse. And again, here they are. You know what, all that shit that Richard said in 2010, we've just totally decided he was right in 2023. Isn't life grand? Fuck me, Riot. You should have hired me.
With intentional feeding is the whole intentional part.
Absolutely.
Like, how do you detect intent? And we know from all kinds of social science that in lieu of knowing someone's intent, we assume it. And so, oh, that's tough. That isn't to say, by the way, the players are wrong.
Yeah.
Right? They may be seeing it, but if we're going to automatically detect it, we have to have a certain level of confidence that it's actually happening.
We built a whole new model over the last year, making our intentional feeding detection a lot more robust. We've been able to increase the amount of detections by over 200% and have specific thresholds and levels for different MMRs, basing it on skill because we can identify how different players play our games. A number of the other features we released that weren't so visible to our players but have made impact are things like champion select reporting. So when players are in champion select and they come across disruptive behavior, we're able to action on those reports and really make that experience better.
I suppose it inspires a thought then. So, of course, behavior doesn't happen in isolation. But it's important to recognize that because we might be addressing the wrong problem, right? We might be seeing a symptom.
Yeah.
For instance, like intentional feeding, no excuses, right? But sometimes they might just be an outcome of other things that have happened.
Absolutely.
Right? We've seen that with,
Listen to
it can
this.
happen if you don't get to play the role that you want or even have a bad day. It might not even have anything to do with the game. But what happens in life?
Right. Yeah, people have a bad day. People flip out on video games. You got to understand. I've been saying this for years. I can't believe I'm watching a fucking Riot dev video where they're basically reading the fucking Richie Lewis Dunzo with League manifesto. Like, yes, people have fucking bad days and they snap. And you can mitigate that by giving people tools not to fucking snap. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen. It's always going to be, it's just one of those things. Like, there's such a range of players from different walks of life with different intentions when they queue up for a ranked game. Some people like to play purely solo and climb the MMR. It's like a personal challenge. Other people just go to ranks. They think it's something you do. You know, you played unranked, then we play ranked. I'll get a better quality of game. Little do they realise it's the same shit, just, you know, just slightly different lick of paint on it. Some people delude themselves into thinking they're going to go pro if they somehow ascend to fucking whatever the highest rank of League of Legends is right now. Other people are like, you know, older and they have jobs. Now, if you fuck with my recreation time, I don't give a fuck who you are. You're getting it. You're having it. It's my limited recreation time. It's important to me. It's precious to me. I have little of it, right? So you're getting it. If you're a cunt in my recreation time, if you do something that makes my 40 spare minutes a day a waste of my time, fuck you. Everything's on the table for you, motherfucker. Because of course, this is what I do to unwind and enjoy myself. And here they are, saying all of this shit. I've written articles about this shit. And everyone was going, this is why Richard Lewis is toxic. I was looking at a thread the other day when all the League of Legends shit was coming up again. It was the birth of toxicity and why Riot Games keep talking about it is what it was called. And it was talking about how they created, how Riot Light, who was bullied at school, unironically, by the way, not a joke, I'm not making that part up. He was literally bullied at school so badly, he decided he would take his degree, his PhD, and apply it to getting back at the bullies in video games. Like, it's actually insane, his story. And he's at Facebook now, so that's good. That's good, I guess. But anyway, I was reading it, and people were going, yeah, Richard Lewis is even, can you believe Richard Lewis is even admitted to being muted in chat? He's even admitted to being like banned for a week. It's like, I'm amazed it was that little. You know what I mean? I work fucking 3 jobs, like, at a time. I've always been super busy. It's not just like content creation and streaming and being a journalist, and then you juggle real life on top of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you fuck with any of that, fuck you. Fuck you. If I get this tiny little window for enjoyment and you're there, fuck your enjoyment, and you're like some Zoomer who can just play video games all day, living in your parents' house. Yeah, there's nothing I can say that you don't deserve. So fuck you. Like, it's as simple as that. So to hear Riot, like, I almost feel validated. I feel seen by Riot Games right now. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Riot Games, for all these years later admitting I was right.
Life happens in games, so you bring it in.
What we're finding is it's actually 95% of our players are only occasionally disruptive. They contribute to over 80% of the reports in our games, which means the vast majority of disruptive behaviors are done by all of us, you and me. We get tilted in games.
Indeed we do.
And we exhibit these behaviors too. So we've found that it's not just about that one approach of punishing all those really disruptive players. It's about that holistic approach where we can identify, yes, there are some players who we do want to remove out of our ecosystem, but the large majority of us are actually really positive, and we want to be able to build features where we can celebrate that.
Quite often when we talk about
Get this.
like the player dynamics space, we're describing it as we want to make it safe to be social and more rewarding online for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the really great things that we've done over the last year to target that population is really building on our honor system. So we increased the rewards significantly.
By the way, they say they built on their honor system, and I don't play League anymore because it's trash. But and Riot Games make it, so it's double trash. But didn't they get rid of the honorable opponent thing? There used to be a little thing at the end where you could credit someone as being an honorable opponent. You could say, this guy was great to play against, right? This dude was great to play against. And they got rid of that. And it's like, that, to me, keep that. That makes sense, right? Like, that's got to be good. Yeah, now it's like, what, you can only do it on your team, which is like, yeah.
With a new
Anyway,
skin.
look what
that
you
is
get if you're
phenomenal.
a nice guy. Look at this.
I hope you all have it.
No bias whatsoever.
No bias. On a recall VFX as well, where our players can really showcase their honor in game, even if they don't necessarily play with that champion, play with that skin.
Hey,
We make
everyone,
games.
I'm honorable.
We're not trying to police this
I'm
space.
pushing in the wave and I'm
We
TPing
want
at the base. I'm
these to
honorable.
be great game experiences. So we're figuring
Wicked.
out what our role is. Like when I look back on League, it's not what like we made that I remember. It's those great esports moments, right? Or it's the teams that were playing and the audiences. They got so excited about this. That's we can really come together and do something. Those kinds of moments, just cosplayers, like the creativity, how they bring the world that we put into our game.
He just goes off on a mad like tangent here and like starts to mansplain esports, and she's kind of like staring at him like, yeah, I just don't know what this has to do with like player behavior development, but okay, go off, king, I guess. Like, you just watch, it's like so ridiculous.
It's incredible. And so when we think about community's involvement, like, yes,
Look
we
at her
know
head
we're going to
tilt.
need to deal with the negative stuff. Reducing bad does not create more good, any more than reducing sodium in your diet doesn't make our food more nutritious. So we got to do both, because otherwise we're kind of aiming for neutral. And that's not why any of us come to games. I mean, anybody who's played League to any extent knows that there's a high mastery curve, right? And you're never done. But it's that possibility, right, that brings us to this. I mean, we see that in our games. It's what we all share in this culture. It's like, yeah, we come for the possibility.
We've redefined what it means
wait.
to be a sport.
Wait, I missed that key bit. Oh, I talked over it. I'm an arsehole. Yeah, here it is. It's back when he was rambling here. Listen to this.
That skin.
We make games. We're not trying to police this space.
Mm-hmm.
We make games. We're not trying to police this space. Like, can you fucking beam me the fuck up now? Can you beam me the fuck up? The guy that created all your behaviors, it was about police. You sent this fucking idiot out to schools and colleges and game development conferences, and he was on a stage explaining how Riot Games player behavior systems wouldn't just make the game a better place, it would make anyone who played the game a better person, and by extension the internet and the world a better place. You're absolutely trying to police the space. You banned a fucking player from having a competitive career for criticizing a skin because it hurt somebody's feelings who designed it. You do player checks on anyone who wants to be a pro to see if they've said anything naughty in a fucking solo queue game. You look at the chat logs of your own staff. It's a thing in job interviews you do. You ask to what's your account? You absolutely have done nothing but police the space. Like, holy shit. And then, yeah, this part coming up. We can get back to there. I couldn't listen to that ramble again. It was like zero coherence there.
That there's a high mastery curve, right? And you're never done. But it's that possibility, right, that brings us to this. I mean, we see that in our games. It's what we all share in this culture. It's like, yeah, we come for the possibility.
We've redefined what it means to be a sport, even.
And I fucking hate this. I hate this. I hate that we've redefined what it means to be a sport. Like, it's that classic Riot Games. We invented esports. It's like, again, I've got nothing against either of these two people talking right now, you understand. But this is drilled into, when you work at Riot, it's drilled into you. It's like, oh yeah, Riot Games invented esports in the year 2010 of our Lord, and it was just some sort of desolate wasteland where like idiots playing video games before that. And then we came along and we said, listen, idiots, what if we gave you a freemium game? And everyone went, oh my god. As if the freemium model hadn't been used for fucking years and years, particularly in Eastern markets, but not exclusively. And then everyone was like, oh my god, like leagues and ladders. Again, as if these weren't built into many games and also not into third-party websites and services that already existed. No, none of these things existed prior to that. There was no StarCraft. There was no Brood War. Brood War was like... Brood War was literally put on fucking television in South Korea. Brood War was like, had DVDs being released of it, of all of the fucking players that used to play it, and it was being really pushed with LAN, you know, fucking competition. None of that was happening. None of that was happening pre-fucking League of Legends, obviously. My bad. You redefined what a sport is. In fact, did the term esports exist? Spoiler, it absolutely did, because Richard Lewis was there back when we were having the 2004-2005 debate about moving away from the term cyber athlete. Ridiculous. We redefined what a sport was.
I don't see why we can't redefine what it means to be an online community.
What are your thoughts about what's next?
So we're so excited for 2023. There's so many learnings
what other
that we
my
can pull
suggestions
from.
are you going
Things
to
like
implement?
the feedback loop with our players. So players really seeing in that moment what was the behavior that caused the disruption and taking action on that immediately or as soon as possible so players understand where we define what the behavioral expectations are in game. Having ways for our players to contribute to those expectations and really appreciating them for when they do so. Because as you said, it's a co-created community, it's a co-created space. We want our players to be able to contribute as much as possible to making it a community that we're all really proud to be a part of. My dream is to have League be a place where people aren't only coming for the pinnacle of competition, where they're also coming for the community, and a place where we are all wanting to contribute to this community, and we're proud to. And we're also proud to invite our friends and our family and everyone we love to this great community.
You know, I can't think of a better theme to start off a new year than possibility. And so I suppose with that in mind, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you listening.
We can't wait to continue this conversation with you all.
This one-way conversation where we release videos implementing things that have been suggested a million times by the community prior to us realizing the community probably had better ideas than we did. Cheers. Thank you. Riot Games, ladies and gentlemen. Still at it. Still at it. It's fucking crazy. Here's the other thing as well. Like, I don't think, and this is more of an abstract thought I haven't really spent a lot of time with, so it could be a bad idea, but I don't think the game should be the hub of the community. What I think should happen is people should make communities for themselves with like-minded people where the thing that you have in common is the game and some other aspects, perhaps. Like, for example, I would never dream of, like, wanting to just talk to total arsehole strangers, like, cause, you know, like in the middle of a like League of Legends game and being like, oh, that was a great game, sir. You really had my number in mid. I'm so glad I was able to catch up the farm. Ah, yes, I doff my fedora to thee, fine opponent. Good luck on summoners, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't want that. I just don't want that at all. I think that's fucking pathetic. Like, just, you know. But what I do, I got fucking friends who just so happen to play Dota. And guess what? We have a little Discord, we jump on, we've gone out and got some other people, and we're all different levels, we make teams, and we play, you know, we play in like little pop-up little cups, and every now and then we might do a Battle Pass cup on a weekend. You know, like that's I've made a community based around a video game. It shouldn't just be in the video game. That's just weird, isn't it? Right, anyway, that was Riot Games. I don't even know why I brought that up. It's irrelevant, mostly. Irrelevant.